You finally got it. The thing you wanted. The thing you worked toward, thought about, imagined over and over again. And for a moment, it felt right, like something clicked into place. Then something changed. Not outside, but inside. And you couldn't explain it, because nothing was wrong. And yet, something didn't feel complete. Before you got it, there was a belief. When I get this, then I'll feel better. You attached a feeling to a future moment, completion, relief, clarity, and that belief became part of your motivation. You weren't just chasing the thing, you were chasing how you thought it would make you feel. While you were working toward it, something was happening. You were building anticipation, imagining it, thinking about it, projecting yourself into it. And each time you did that, the feeling became stronger, not because you had it, but because you were thinking about having it. Then the moment arrives. You get it. And at first, there's a shift, a sense of arrival, a brief satisfaction. But something is different, because now there's nothing left to imagine. The anticipation disappears, and with it, a certain kind of energy. The excitement fades, the tension releases, and what's left feels quieter than you expected, because anticipation can feel more intense than reality. There's something else most people don't notice. That goal was doing more than just giving you direction. It was giving you structure to move toward, something to focus on. It gave your days a sense of purpose. And when it's gone, that structure disappears with it. While you were chasing it, you became a certain version of yourself. Someone who was working toward something. Someone progressing. Someone building. And now, that version has nothing to chase. So part of your identity feels undefined. This is where the emptiness begins to show, not as something dramatic, but as a quiet question. Now what? What do I do next? What am I moving toward? And without an answer, there's a gap. You expected something more, not just the thing, but the feeling that came with it, a lasting sense of fulfillment, a permanent shift. But reality doesn't always match that expectation, because the feeling you imagined was created before you got it. When this happens, it's easy to misunderstand it, to think, maybe it wasn't enough. Maybe I need something bigger. So you start looking for the next thing, not realizing you're repeating the same pattern. Chase, imagine, achieve, feel, repeat. Each time expecting, this one will be different. This one will last. This one will feel complete. But the pattern continues. Something changes when you notice this, not the feeling right away, but your understanding of it. You start seeing the pattern. You start recognizing the cycle. You begin to realize it was never just about the thing. It was about the meaning you attached to it, what it represented, what you believed it would give you. And slowly, your focus starts to shift from chasing outcomes to understanding experiences, from external results to internal awareness, because the emptiness you felt wasn't a failure. It was a signal, Not that something was missing, but that something was misunderstood. You didn't do anything wrong. You just believed that something outside of you would complete something inside of you. And once you see that clearly, the feeling doesn't disappear instantly, but it changes. Because the next time you reach for something, you won't just ask, "Will this get me there?" You'll ask, "What am I expecting this to give me?" And that question changes everything. If this felt familiar, then you already know this isn't just about goals. It's about the quiet feeling no one talks about. After you finally get what you thought would fix everything, most people will ignore that feeling and go chase the next thing. But if you want to understand why it keeps happening and start seeing what's actually driving you, subscribe and hit the like button. Because once you understand this pattern, you don't chase the same illusions the same way again. And this is where it becomes clearer. Because the emptiness you felt wasn't random. It came from something deeper. Not the goal itself, but what that goal was doing for you before you reached it. There was energy, movement, focus, direction. That energy didn't just come from the goal. It came from the pursuit, from moving toward something, not having it. Your mind was constantly projecting forward, imagining the outcome, imagining the feeling, how it would look, how it would feel. And each time you imagined it, you created a version of it, a version that could never be exactly matched. Then you got it. And that projection disappeared because now there's nothing left to imagine. No future version, no ideal outcome, just what is. And that's when things feel different because the movement stops. The forward pull disappears. No chase, no buildup, just stillness. And if you're not used to that stillness, it can feel like emptiness. Without realizing it, you may have become used to always moving towards something, always having a next step, always having something ahead, another goal, another milestone. And when that motion stops, it feels unfamiliar. Direction gives structure. It tells you where to focus, what matters, what to do next. And when that direction disappears, there's a gap, not because something is missing, but because something stopped guiding you. While you were pursuing the goal, you were someone specific, someone moving forward, someone progressing, someone becoming. And now, that version doesn't have a clear direction. So the question comes back again. Now what? What do I do next? Where do I go from here? And without an answer, that question lingers. This is why the pattern repeats. You find another goal. You build anticipation again. You move forward again. And for a while, it feels meaningful until the same moment happens again. But once you see it, you start noticing something different. The feeling isn't tied to the goal. It's tied to the process, the movement, and that changes how you approach things. You still pursue. You still move forward. But you don't attach everything to the outcome. Instead of constantly projecting forward, you begin to notice what's happening now. Not just the result, but the experience. what you're learning, what you're feeling, because the emptiness wasn't the problem. It was the space left behind when the pursuit stopped. And once you understand that, you don't rush to fill that space the same way. You begin to experience it differently, not as something missing, but as something you finally notice. And maybe the emptiness wasn't the problem. Maybe it was the moment everything became clear. Because when you were chasing it, you had direction. You had something to move toward. But when you finally got it, you were left with something else. Stillness. And in that stillness, there was nothing left to distract you. No next step, no next version. Just you and what you thought that thing would fix. And that's when you start to realize it was never really about the thing. It was about what you believed it would give you. Completion, relief, meaning. But those aren't things you arrive at. They're things you notice. And once you see that, something shifts. Not instantly, not perfectly, but enough. Because the next time you want something, you won't just ask, "Will this make me feel complete?" You'll ask, "What am I trying not to feel right now?" And that question might change everything. See you next tomorrow.